Hello, good evening, and a very warm welcome back. We are back live again, finally, here on a Tuesday night for the Armed Forces Virtual Racing Challenge. It's David Christie back in the commentary booth again with my good buddy John Knighton here at Brands Hatch Indy. We've been all over the UK virtually so far, John. We've been to Oulton Park, we've been to Donington, Knockhill. Last time out we were at Silverstone. Tonight, Brands Hatch Indy, a fast, aggressive, chaotic circuit.
Yeah, and we've had fast, aggressive, chaotic racing, haven't we, so far as well, David, in all the circuits that we've been to. So the drivers get used to these new cars, to these Porsches, to the GT3 and, of course, the GT4 as well. But, yeah, I'm really excited about tonight. I think we're in for an absolute feast of fast racing. And certainly, having watched some of the qualifying so far, I think the guys are looking pretty good so far. I look to mastering it, but whether we find that when we actually get down to the business of the racing is another matter, of course.
Certainly is. There's the idea of what we've got in store for you tonight. Qualifying is underway just now. We're about 15 minutes away from our very first race, and then we have a 15-minute race there, and then we have a little bit of a break and another 15-minute race with a reverse grid chosen by a magic wheel that often throws a ton of surprises. Let's bring you up to speed with the championship so far, though. Craig Durrant in the lead of the championship overall on those driver championship stand-ins, and yet again, John, it brings into play that big talking point that it's not about where you finish on the podium, it's about how you do with your consistency and your performance index. You can see there Craig Durrant in the top of the championship, looking a very commanding lead there, 30 points over Chris Darnell. Ryan Martin in third, Mike Chambers in fourth, Chris Boland in fifth, Michael Clough in sixth, James King in seventh, Ollie Waynes in eighth, ninth is Stu Etic, and Duncan Steele in that 10th position. But the GT4s, it has been all about Craig Durrant this season.
Yeah, it has. I mean, he had two great wins last week, didn't he, in the two races that we saw at Silverstone, looking very, very dominant, and no doubt he'll be anxious to do that once again tonight if he can. And I think the GT4s, it's this level of consistency that they've had that has pushed them to the top of the charts, isn't it?
It certainly has. So we can see their qualifying is a little bit further on than I imagined already. We've only got another 4 minutes left to go in qualifying. So we're currently watching Harry Gardner here for the RAF Central Fund GT3 team, and just making his way down towards Graham Hill Bend just now, that sweeping left-hander. And what we'll do is, as soon as Harry gets his way up onto the Brabham Straight, we'll go on board. In fact, let's go on board with Matty Isherwood. Huge thank you to Mike Yao there for that mind-reading ability there. Takes that right-hander at Parrick Hill Bend, then down the hill, a very difficult corner, because if you sweep out too far onto the left-hand side, you've invalidated your lap already. Onto the brakes after Pilgrim tries, round the right-hander, and Druids almost getting taken out by that car, spinning on the grass there, and spins himself out at Graham Hill Bend. And well, we were looking for an exemplary lap round there. We'll try again with Michael Clough, shall we, as he goes round the right-hander. No, he's given up. So I get the feeling that whoever we're going to be on board with tonight, we're going to be jinxing here.
Yeah, they don't want it, do they? They don't want us to see their actual driving. But the whole point, really, of taking you around the circuit is just to give you an idea of the ups and downs, the undulating aspect of the track, which you don't normally get from a sort of the normal camera eye view like this. You don't necessarily see what the gradient's like, as you can see here now with Harry Gardner. Maybe Harry will just keep it nice and steady for us in qualifying. He's doing okay. Currently sort of the 11th fastest at the moment. But you can, as you say, Dave, you're sort of going round and you see what it's like.
It is a fantastic track here at Brands Hatch. The elevation changes are absurd. It's very similar in terms of elevation changes Knockhill, as we see along Cooper Straight, up the left-hander at Surtees, climbing up the hill again, that long right-hander at Clark Curve again. Very short circuit. You're only looking at around about what's that, 44 seconds, 44 and a half seconds for Matty Isherwood is his best time, 47 seconds if you're in one of the GT4s. Now, that may only be 2 to 3 seconds as Harry Gardner goes very, very wide there, but what that means is after about 15 laps of this, and you will rattle through those laps very, very quickly indeed, all of the GT4s are going to get lapped in a very, very concise fashion. That is going to throw the GT3s, I think, to the wolves.
Indeed. Yeah, Ben Weston just demonstrating exactly how not to take that corner. And he's Colin Scott we're riding with at the moment. He's sort of looking at 12th place at the moment in qualifying, but still a few minutes to go. Not actually, just a couple of minutes left now. So they're going to be pushing, and in fact that's what we've seen, isn't it, in this last few moments of qualifying, David? Actually, the pushing has meant that some of them have been coming off.
And it's such an easy track to do that with, as we see Colin Scott here down in that 12th position. So Matty Isherwood still in pole position, 44.516 from James King in second place, Tom Stevens in third, Chris Pauly in the fourth, Ryan Martin up there in fifth position, Chris Slater in sixth, Ollie Wayne in seventh, and then it's Chris Darnell and Stu Etic eighth and ninth, Dan Berris in 10th, and Harry Gardner. And that's a big hit for Adam Barron. That car is going to be taking a trip to the spares department, I think, very, very shortly, as we've got about a minute and 10 seconds to go. And Colin Scott gets it all wrong round the exit of Clark Corner there. Every single corner on this track is a danger point, and I'll be honest, I've been fairly calm and cool and collected so far this season, John. I am scared tonight. I am scared.
Carnage could be the name of the game, unfortunately, out on Brands Hatch tonight on this Indy course. I hope I'm wrong, because we want to see good racing, don't we? We want to see the excitement that we had last week. We had such an exciting end, didn't we, to race number 2, wasn't it? Fantastic end to the race. Anybody could have won it going into the last lap. But we want to see plenty of excitement, but we want to see good, safe racing. And as you said, the likes of Craig Durrant stayed out of trouble, and there he is leading the Drivers' Championship in a GT4.
And doing very, very well indeed. 10 seconds left to go in qualifying. Can anyone improve? It's not looking likely, apart from the fact that James King did a 44.52 and would have gotten pole position. He would have taken it if it wasn't for Matty Isherwood immediately going in and putting in a 44.50. That is so cruel for James King. Pipped at the post at the last, but Craig Dunn is going to take pole position for the GT4s. Ryan Martin, can he make any improvements as he comes across the line just now? No, he can't. Still going to be in 5th place. It's Dan Hardwick for GT4s in 4th position. He comes across the line to secure that 4th position. Matty Isherwood takes pole position by 2/1000ths of a second, possibly the closest margin I think we've had all season here for the AFVRC. And in pole position for the GT4s, Craig Dunn, absolutely no surprises there. Half a second, John, ahead of the rest of that GT4 field.
One thing I'm very interested to know tonight, whether you have the intel or not, David, on this one, is, of course, last week, and if you're watching on Thursday, you've seen there's quite a lot of incidents at the beginning of the first race last week, because it wasn't a rolling start. We had a rolling start for the second race, which was much smoother. Not sure what the intel is telling us tonight. Are we going for a hard start or a rolling one? That will emerge very shortly.
Fingers crossed for me, John, that it's a rolling one. I don't think my little heart could take another standing start. I don't think their bank balances could take another standing start. But here's the grid then for round 5 here at Brands Hatch Indy. Race 1 of 2. Matty Isherwood on pole position for the GT3s alongside James King. Row 2 is Tom Stevens and Chris Pauly. Row 3 is Ryan Martin alongside Chris Slater, with row 4 being Ollie Waynes and Chris Darnell. Row 5 is going to be Stu Etic and Dan Berris, with row 6 being Harry Gardner and Colin Scott. Row 7 is going to be at the back, Ben Weston by himself. GT4s then, Craig Dern again on pole position with Michael Clough half a second behind. Adam Barron leads off row 2 alongside 4th place of Dan Hardwick. Luke Arpino, who we saw in Trouble Knock Hill a couple of weeks ago, in 5th position. Duncan Steele in 6th. And then on row 4 in 7th place, Steve Ward and Dave Russell. And towards the back of the field, Matthew Banyard on that British Army GT4 in 9th position, 2 seconds behind the leader. The pace car is there. I am happy to say it is a rolling start, John. That's set my night at ease here.
And mine too, because you want to get, these cars want to get off to a good start. So that's a good decision from the track management, I think. No
expenses spared tonight here. That's what it is. But joking aside, actually, that is a point. I think if now that they've had that first surprise grid start, which was obviously unintentional, I think they would be much better prepared if that was to happen, because what we saw was it wasn't the immediate start, it was everybody tussling, trying to get past immediately after that start. But as it is, by the by, we go to a rolling start. It's going to be a very fast rolling start because, of course, there's not much to cover here at the circuit here, John.
That's right, yeah. We're looking at sort of 45 seconds, weren't we? Around 45 and a half seconds for at the top there with Matthew Isherwood. James King very, very close. But this start's going to be fascinating, especially getting down to the first bend because, down to turn 1. Will they all be in one piece when they come out of it?
Well, that is what we are about to find out as the cars come round. The GT3s anyway come round Clark Car for the first time. It's going to be Matty Isherwood who will take to the lead of this group. He does so ahead of James King, and we get ready then. We've got about 13 of the GT3s. The noise about to get brought here at Brands Hatch Indy for round 5 of the AFVRC here on the RAF Esports channel. The red lights are on and we go racing here at Brands Hatch Indy. That's a clean start for all of the GT3s. Whether or not they make it down to the bottom of Paddock Hill Bend in one piece is another matter. But look at the start from Craig Dern already. He is away, and you might as well let him off because he is just going to be away and gone with it, John. That is a stunning start from the GT4s, and I'm going to touch the desk here several times. That is looking like one of the cleanest starts we have ever had in this season.
Indeed, yeah. Well done to all the drivers, really, because that was very disciplined. Good start. But yeah, you're right, Craig Dern. What a start from him. He's in a league of his own, isn't he, in that GT4? He really is. But James King has snatched the lead from Matt Isherwood, I see, at the top of the GT3. So that's going to be a bit of a dogfight, I think, between those two, with obviously with Tom Stevens in 3rd place. But yeah, King leads.
That is an absolutely fantastic observation. Well done, John, because I didn't even see that one. And not only is he in the lead, but he's about 0.6 of a second. That was until he made a mistake coming up Pilgrim Drive and round Druids. That gap now down to 0.2 of a second here. Isherwood, I think, just relaxing a little bit, just letting King try and tie a noose for himself here, because all that pressure, all that anxiety of lap 1, lap 2 and being in the lead, it's a lot of pressure for King, and Isherwood, I think, he'll be quite happy to apply that pressure.
And you know what, overtaking is going to be very limited, isn't it, because it's such a short course with so many twists and turns. I think it's going to be, there's very limited overtaking here. So unless there's lots of accidents and crashes, that's going to see we may just be seeing how things might pan out. But this is very early days, yes, of course. But James King establishing nearly half a second over Matt Isherwood, but not for much longer, because King has gone off and Isherwood has taken the lead with Stevens going 2nd, Paulie going to 3rd, James King dropping down to 4th.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were saying there. All that pressure applied to himself, and it's going to happen. It's going to either make you or break you, and that is what happened. And Matthew Banyard did. It looked like got an absolute wallop from Ward behind. Steve Ward recovering onto the grass, so he might just have missed him there, but that was super close. Meanwhile, back with the GT3s, Matty Isherwood into the lead, and that looks like Chris Slater having a look up the inside. Takes that position away from Chris Darnell, and that was as smooth as you like, as cool as you like but that GT3 battle for the lead definitely not over, because we've now got some new contenders up at the front as well. Tom Stevens fancies having a go at that 89. Let's have a look at what happened to Ben Weston. Oh, that is a scary moment coming up onto the top of that corner there, straight into the wall. And that is, that's not what you want to be having happen, even if it's in a sim here, John.
No, that's right. Yeah, not a lot left of those front tyres either. Matt Isherwood has pulled himself ahead. He's nearly a second clear now of Tom Stevens, so he's going very well with Duncan Steele at the moment. And he's just had a little bit of a coming together there. Decides to go into the pit lane, not voluntarily though.
I mean, 10 out of 10 for style points, I guess, on that one. He made that look very, very good. Meanwhile, back to the battle then. This is for third position and second position. You can see Tom Stevens leading Chris Pauly. Pauly's going to get a good run out of this corner, possibly going to get the run towards the start-finish line. Can he duck into the slipstream? He thinks about going to the inside there into turn number 1. It's not going to happen down into Paddock Hill Bend here, as we've got 4 minutes on the clock. This is what happened with James King then, and this is coming out of the Graham Hill Bend. Just goes too wide, too eager on the power, keeps the foot in, tries to keep it going, and to be fair, that's an excellent recovery there, John, from James King, because that could have went so much worse.
Yeah, he did recover extremely well, because he could have gone in all directions there. He could have had all 4 wheels going in different directions, but no, he's done well. And he's kept himself in the hunt there. He's only 1.7 seconds behind the leader at the moment, so there's still plenty to play for here. What's Steve Ward been up to? Just looking at him, riding with him now,
he did cause collision then. That was with the GT4 at the back then. That was Matthew Banyard. I know, if you remember, John, we weren't sure from that camera angle originally whether there was contact. Safe to say that was a crunching bit of contact there from that car behind, and somehow he was his own worst enemy. Steve Ward was the victim in that by himself.
Yeah, a bit of a crash bang wallop, wasn't it? It's just sent Steve Ward right to the back of the field at the moment. Michael Clough also decided to get in on the act as well. And he's gone off too, but he's actually recovered very well there. Great recovery from Michael Clough. That could have been very serious, but he's done well.
Yeah, that was a great recovery there. I'm trying to figure out who that was there, actually. Whether or not that was Dave Russell that got involved in there. We'll keep our eyes out for that. But
or was it Luke Arpino? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's actually who I was trying to figure out. Yeah. Tom Stevens, though, he's in a bit of a rock and a hard place here, because he's got Chris Pauly just up in front of him. Is that one of the GT4s that's blinking away here? This is going to be very, very sketchy here, as about 5 GT3 cars try and get past a Houdini of a GT4 car that appears, then disappears into contact as the GT4 tried to turn in on one of the GT3 cars. You can't do that. Thankfully, the GT3 swatted that car off like it wasn't even there.
Well, especially if you're being lapped, you've got to be so careful, haven't you? And the GT4s are now being lapped by the GT3s, who obviously have caught them up as we into lap 9 here of our 15 minutes. And I think we could see a few more fun and games as there's a bit more of a concertina effect coming up. But Tom Stevens, he's doing okay, keeping that third place, keeping himself clean. Chris Pauly just ahead of him, and Matt Isherwood still has the lead, with James King trying to work his way back after that mistake that cost him the lead. Yeah,
and it really did cost him so badly there. You can see the 14 of Duncan Steele just moving out of the way with the GT3s as they come pounding into that first corner there. You've got another GT4 on the outside there, again doing the reasonable thing and moving out the way here. But have a look at Tom Stevens then. They're side by side going into Druids then. You've got 3 cars almost battling it out for this position here. This is for 3rd, 4th and 5th position. It's going to be Tom Stevens, James King and Ryan Martin here. And quite honestly, John, you could throw a blanket over this crowd here, because they all want that position.
Yeah, they do. But the person who's benefiting the most, I guess, is Matt Isherwood, because he's got the lead now. He's out in front. These two are, there's this almighty scrap to get the 2nd, 3rd and 4th places. And so Matt Isherwood is certainly benefiting because he's, as you can see, he's pulled away now. He's nearly 2 seconds ahead now, and that counts for quite a lot at this stage in the race.
Certainly is. First up the inside goes Tom Stevens, then they're still side by side as Tom Stevens takes that position, but James King keeps the foot in round the outside, takes that position back, as cool, calm, collected as you like, and that means that King still up into that third position then. So James King, that masterful recovery drive there where it looked like he could have lost everything, went back to fourth place, and he's so close. I got mixed up there thinking that GT4 was potentially one of the GT3s, but here is Colin Scott still fighting it out. That is Harry Gardner that's just in front of him, and Harry Gardner will not be happy down in that 11th place because he is used to being regularly, John, up in that top 5.
He certainly is, yeah. And Ryan Martin, yeah, and Tom Stevens and Chris Slater has now moved up to 4th place. This is really disciplined driving, though, we have to say, David, from all the drivers here, particularly in that scrap at the top of the GT3s. But they're really driving in a very disciplined way. Very impressive.
Certainly is. So here we go. This is back with the GT4s then, as we see Adam Barron and Luke Arpino fight out side by side. Arpino fires it up the inside of Paddock Hill Bend. That is how it's done, and it also means that, in fact, hang on a minute, that's Craig Durrant. What? I'm so used to seeing Craig Durrant off into the distance here. I've never seen him in a fight before, so excuse me for being confused here. And Durrant's gone!
Oh.
Done, and that looked like it was contact with Luke Arpino on that corner there. What on earth has happened to Craig Durrant?
Well, we were saying how consistent he has been, and I think that he was caught. He was definitely caught by faster drivers, and he's now got to work his... We've seen him do this before, actually, David. We've seen him come off, make a mistake, but work his way back. So don't write him off just yet, because there's still a little bit of time to go here. And a third of the race to go, so he'll work his way back, and don't be surprised if you see Craig Durrant back in the top 3.
I'm wondering if he has got a bit of a problem here. Either that, or it could be these GT3 cars that are constantly getting involved now, because you see them right in the thick of it here, and Durrant just... I mean, this is definitely not what we're used to seeing from Craig Durrant here. So let's have a look here. This is on the run down towards Graham Hill Bend there, and a little tag, Luke Arpino. That's what's happened there. He's tried to turn in. Luke's car is there, can't go anywhere, and the car gets sent off to the nearest available grass patch there. Wow, that is huge drama for our first race of the evening here, John.
It is, yeah, a bit of a shock as well at the moment, but I say Craig Durrant has got plenty of time. He can work his way back into that race. And what's going on at the top of GT3 at the moment? Well, you've got Matt Isherwood still leading with Chris Pawley in 2nd place. James King worked his way back to 3rd, and there's Chris Slater in his, I think, what is probably his best position so far, isn't it, in this series? We've not really seen too much of Chris Slater so far.
There's a replay of Colin Scott getting a little bit of the curb on the way down the hill. I get the feeling that this is going to be into Druids. Lock up the brake there and just clips that car in front. That's an unfortunate accident where, he gets a first class ticket to the scene of the accident, and thankfully no major damage for that car there. But you see when the GT4 is getting put a lap down there, that's the 22 of Michael Clough. So that is all the way up into 3rd place. Now Craig Durrant then all the way down in 5th position in that GT4, and Duncan Steele looks like he might be struggling. Either that or he's got connection issues there. But Duncan Steele fighting it out with Dave Russell just now with 3 minutes left to go in this first race of the evening. The gap is starting to stretch between Matty Isherwood and Chris Pawley, so that lead of the GT3 race looking nice and comfortable for just now. You can see Chris Pawley and James King just making their way down turn number 1 just now. In the GT4s though, I think, John, quite honestly, Adam Barron will take this win and literally rip your arms off to take it. He will be delighted with that.
He will. Matthew Banyard doing a little bit of ice skating, I think, on the track there A very nice double pirouette there as he tries to sort of steady the car up. But yeah, Chris Pawley as well going well. And James King back into second place. So remember, this was basically how we started, wasn't it? With Matt Isherwood and James King 1 and 2. Dave Russell, he's making a bit of a mess of the sand there. And that will not do his position any good whatsoever. Craig Durrant still in 5th place in the GT4, so it looks like he's going to be missing from the podium here, doesn't it, David? And that will be a bit of a surprise.
For sure. I mean, he's just at a faster lap by about 0.6 of a second ahead of Dan Hardwick, but it's all going to count for nothing because at the end of the day, he's got a minute and a half left to try and undo the damage. You're not going to take 6 seconds out of that here. And Matthew Banyard again out of Druids, and less ice skating and more... well, I think he's going to need some ice after that one because that was a hard hit into the wall there. Yeah, I think he'll be looking to get a cup of coffee and a chill after.
I think he needs a glass of milk and a lie down, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. A dark room, John.
Yeah. But he'll be back. He'll come back. But Craig Durrant's still 5th with, Andy Barron looking good, doesn't he, now for that top spot in the GT4, and Luke Arpino as well. A good second place for him. Luke, of course, got a second place in the first race last week behind Craig Durrant. And so those will be good points for him. Really tight, I think, at the top of the team championship as well, with just 22 points separating 1st and 7th, and just 12 points separating second and 7th. So the team championship, we could be in for a few changes tonight, David. Here we are with Matthew Isherwood. Great shot, that, isn't it? You really just see how well he's controlling the car.
Absolutely, it's been an exemplary night tonight for Matty Isherwood. He gets that lead back off the race after an earlier scare from James King, and coming through to start what is going to be surely the final lap of the race. In fact, with 5 seconds to go, let's have a look here as he comes across the line. But James King, 2 seconds behind. So here we go then, and it's going to be a win in race number 1 then for Matty Isherwood. After an early scare from James King, he takes that top step on the podium. James King in 2nd, and then in 3rd place is going to be Chris Pawley, with Slater in 4th, Tom Stevens in 5th, Chris Turnell in 6th position, Ollie Waynes in 7th, Ryan Martin in 8th position. But there you go, the story is all about that guy there, Adam Barron, taking the win for GT4's Luke Arpino. I think is going to be getting looked at very, very, very concernedly from the stewards. I'm not even sure that's a word, but we'll make it up anyway. But Luke Arpino, I think, is going to be under scrutiny after that move on Craig Durrant, who somehow got, if I'm not mistaken, got 3rd place.
He got back to 3rd, did he? So he got back to
did that? But he was like 5th.
Well, obviously in that, well, it's, you never write him off. As I said, never write Craig Durrant off, because he's already shown how consistent he is. But he was making some ground, wasn't he, in those last couple of laps? But clearly it was good enough.
Well, there you go, indeed. So, Craig Durrant and getting that 3rd place there. Adam Barron taking the win though. Luke Arpino in 2nd and Craig Durrant in 3rd position. Dan Hardwick in 4th. Duncan Steele in 5th. Michael Clough in 6th. Steve Ward in 7th. Dave Russell in 8th. And Matthew Banyard finishing a lap behind in 9th position. And then we do our reverse grid then. Let's have a look at the wheel and how many cars are going to be getting reversed tonight. Hold the breath. 11 cars. Top 11. So that is Harry Gardner again is going to be on pole position, John.
Yeah, just maybe worth reminding viewers who don't understand how this works, because basically you reverse the positions from the main grid, obviously from qualifying, which means that the person who finished 11th, basically, or on in this race, will go to the top of the grid. That's basically how it works.
Here's our race results then for GT3 before we let John loose on some of the drivers. Matty Isherwood, James King and Chris Pawley. That's your 1, 2, 3 for the GT3s. Chris Slater in 4th, Tom Stevenson 5th, Chris Darnell in 6th, Ollie Wayne in 7th, Ryan Martin in 8th, Dan Berris in 9th, Stu Etic in 10th, Harry Gardner in 11th, Colin Scott in 12th and Ben Weston rounds out the GT3s not finishing this race. John Knighton, who would you like to have a chat with first?
Well, you know what? If you were tuned in last Thursday, you'd know that Chris Pawley, we were trying to speak to Chris, and for whatever reason we couldn't raise him. Let's talk to him first tonight, shall we? Chris, are you there? And can you speak to us this evening? We got the communications working.
Yeah.
We're there. Are you there, Chris? Can you hear me?
I am indeed, and I can hear you this time.
Oh, that's good news. And, well, first of all, congratulations on that 3rd place. I was watching you quite closely during the qualifying, and you were going well, and so that's a good race for you today. This is not an easy track, is it, in these cars?
No, it's a really tricky track. I mean, it's deceptive. A couple of the corners, they kind of tempt you in, but yeah, really happy with the result, especially after the 2nd place at the last round. So, yeah, overall, I think it was a good race and a good drive from James King and Matty Isherwood as well.
Yeah, I mean, they led from the front. James, we'll talk to James in a second because he had a bit of an issue, didn't he? I think he took it a little bit wide and it cost him the places, but he certainly pulled it back. But that was, I think, from your point of view, consistency was the key, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't think I've had the pace, to be honest, in qualifying. You know, I was a few tenths off the leaders, but it's so close at the front. It just comes down to those small mistakes, really. So, yeah, like I said, happy with the result and looking forward to the next one.
Okay, good to talk to you, Chris, and I'm very pleased we finally got through to you after all this time. But good luck for the next race. Let's move up, shall we, to 2nd place then from the that first race. James King is with us. James, good evening to you. Tell us what happened, because obviously, you know, you actually were doing well. We had there was a slight issue which meant you dropped down, but you pulled yourself back again.
Yeah, I mean, my last couple of rounds haven't been the best, and I've been a bit mistake prone. And I had said on the grid, oh, it's probably going to happen again. I'm going to make some sort of mistake. And yeah, I threw away what was probably this might be my best chance at a win this round. Because for some reason I managed to switch the car on so well, but still to come back to 2nd, I'm really happy with that.
Yeah, because you got past Matt Isherwood in very early order in the race, and you must have felt, hey, I've got a great chance here.
Yeah, I mean, from all the time I've spent on the track with him, I know it's never an easy task to get past him. So I was pretty happy I pulled the move off, and then I did a similar thing to Chris Pawley later as well, to get back onto 2nd. But yeah, all in all, apart from making a mistake, it was a really good race.
Okay, James, thanks very much for your time, and good luck for race number 2. So let's bring Matt Isherwood in, shall we? Matt, you started off on pole position, and you ended up winning the race. So, you know, not bad at all for a night's work, or halfway through a night's work.
Not bad, but I don't think it fairly reflects the amount of stress that I encountered for 20 laps. The track is so narrow around here, and with the GT4s, it was really difficult. You had to be absolutely on it every single lap to get past.
I bet you were pleased for the rolling start, though, weren't you? I think a standard start here would be pretty chaotic.
It would be chaotic, and I don't think we need to throw any further factors in it to make it more chaotic. No. I don't know what it was like looking from the sidelines, but yeah, there was quite a lot of action. It's really close up at the front, which is good to see.
Well, I must admit, I think that, you know, all the drivers deserve a lot of credit actually, because the start was terrific. I think it's the best start we've seen so far in the series. So credit to everyone, and to you, Matt. Well done. A win here, which is clearly very valuable to you and the team.
Yeah, exactly. Not had the best of run recently, so it's nice to put some points on the board, and hopefully we'll go again in race 2 and get a decent position.
Good to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed. Let's move on then to the GT4, shall we? And I think the person that we need to speak to is the man of the moment, Adam Barron. Adam, fantastic performance there to win that GT4 race. And anybody who overtakes gets past Craig Durrant in this series is doing extremely well.
Sorry, I missed the start of that.
I just said, well done, congratulations, you're the man of the moment.
Yeah, thank you. I've missed the past 3 races due to operational commitments, which was gutting. But so that's my championship gone, I think, with 3 drop scores completely. But no, it was good to come back into it. It was a bit of chaos in qualifying. I knew it was going to be a tight run thing. And I saw Craig and Michael get together, which let me catch up with them a bit. And then I managed to get past Craig with a little bit of contact. But we got past, and then I saw there was an issue behind me with him and Luke, so I thought, bonus, let's just try and scamper off into the distance. But yeah, no, happy with that.
Yeah, we'll be talking to Craig in a moment. He may not be the happiest of people after what happened, and Luke as well. Well done to you on that. It was a really good performance. So to get that win, Adam, and really after having been away for a couple of weeks, you'll be really pleased with that. Let's bring Luke in if we can. Luke Arpino, are you there? Because Luke, tell me, do you think the stewards might be having a bit of a word with you?
Yeah, I was just having a chat with Craig Durant there, and there is a bit of it's fair sportsmanship, but I thought I had the line, and then I backed off, and then he backed off, and by that point I was by his door, so I just went for the gap, and then he turned in. So yeah, we'll have a see.
Are you still on his Christmas card list?
We'll see. I'll have to send one first, I think.
Never mind. I mean, it was still a great race, and it's good points in the bag for you as well, isn't it, for the GT4 team and the RAF motor racing team?
Yeah, great points for us. We've been sort of mid-pack, so yeah, it's good to get in front of the Army team as well, because obviously they've been pulling away for us. But no, yeah, good race.
Good stuff. Well, let's congratulations to you on that, and let's bring Craig in. Is he on your Christmas card list, Craig? After that.
Racing incident, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, they do happen, don't they?
Yeah. It's if we talk about the second incident, then the first one was all me, but the second incident it's a tricky corner to pass on, and especially to go 3 wide through. I'd obviously slowed down to maximise my exit, and didn't quite realise he'd sent a dive up the inside. So it is what it is.
Well, you were down in 5th place, and then somehow we looked at the end board, and there you were up in 3rd. So that was a remarkable comeback, really. You would drop down all the way from 1st to 5th, but you got on the podium somehow.
Yeah, just being there, making up for the carnage that happens in front of you, isn't it?
Well, it does, yeah. But you've had a great season so far with those 2 wins last week and dominating the championship. So I suppose today a bit of reality kicking in, because people are going to be chasing after you, aren't they? They're going to be wanting to steal your thunder.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I feel absolutely gutted for taking Michael out. It wasn't intentional. I didn't mean to, and missed out on a really good race. So gutted.
Okay. Well, good stuff. You got a 3rd, so congratulations on that. And looking forward, obviously, very closely coming up very soon to the second race of the evening.
Yeah.
So well done, gentlemen. That's all of the top 6 we've spoken to, the top 3 in each race. And I think we heard some pretty honest answers there, David, if you don't mind me saying so.
Yeah, we certainly did. I think everybody was very upfront about how they felt during that race, and some great interviews there, John. So a huge thank you for that. I think what we'll do for just now, though, we'll take a very short commercial break. We'll be back to build up for race number 2. Do not go anywhere. So a very warm welcome back, and on cue, Matty Isherwood spinning out rather dramatically and stylishly in front of the camera, John Knighton, as if to make a point there. But a fantastic race one. We're in for one hell of a race too, and the drivers out there getting a little bit of warm-up done before we get going again.
That's right. Yeah, I thought a very disciplined race by and large. There were a few little comings together, but I think they did extremely well, the drivers. And all credit to Matt Isherwood and to Adam Barron, the respective winners in the two groups. Matt Isherwood, he lost the lead early on in that first race to James King. James King then had a few issues of his own. Tom Stevens was in there, and Craig Pawley as well ended up getting the third spot with James King second. And then Adam Barron, well, that was interesting with Luke Carpino as well, and Craig Durrant, as we say, a man, Mr. Consistency, knocked off his perch slightly, but he still got back to third, which I think that had us both surprised, didn't it, David?
It certainly did. It will obviously impact his consistency rating, but the great thing about his position, the great thing about all that hard work is that he can afford to have that. He can afford to have a race where it doesn't all go his way. But more importantly, what I want to know is, right, he was half a second ahead in pace on qualifying, and he was stretching away. He was out by about 3 seconds. So what brought him back to that GT4 group? Because every single race we've seen, John, he's been out and away and nobody's been able to catch him. So that's what my concern is. What had happened to put him off his stride and to throw him back to that pack? But it looks like practice is over. It looks like that ghost is going to have to be settled well and truly into the past as we get ready to go for our second race. As confirmation then, Harry Gardner in pole position as a result of that reverse grid there, alongside Stu Etic on the front row. Row 2 in third place is going to be Dan Berris, with Ryan Martin, Ollie Wayne and Chris Darnell line up 5th and 6th on row 3. Row 4 is going to be Tom Stevens alongside Chris Slater, and then row 5, Chris Pawley alongside James King, a man who would have been king in that first race if it wasn't for that issue coming down Graham Hill Bend. Matty Isherwood, your winner of the first race, alongside Colin Scott on row 6, and then at the back is Ben Weston, who DNF'd that first race. Matty Banyard in the pole position place for the GT4s alongside Dave Russell. And then on row 2, Steve Ward alongside Michael Clough, Duncan Steele with Dan Hardwick in 5th and 6th, Craig Dunn in 7th, Luke Arpino in 8th, and Adam Barron in 9th position. Place your bets now, ladies and gentlemen, because I get the feeling this is going to be a spicy one.
Yes, I quite agree. One person we haven't mentioned, of course, is Matt Chambers, who is not able to race tonight because of his work commitments. He won, of course, the first race last week, and I'm sure if he's able to, he'll be tuning in just to see how his rivals are getting on. So wherever you are this evening, Matt, hopefully we'll have you back next week. But it's again, I think the rolling start we're going to have, and I think it's the right decision. Definitely the right decision. I think it certainly made for a clean start last time. Hopefully we'll get that again.
Well, fingers crossed. We're certainly on our way. The pace car there leads them round, so we are just about to go live in green for our second race of the evening. As always, if you do like what you're seeing here, ladies and gentlemen, hit that subscribe button on YouTube, hit that like button on the Facebook page as well. The pace car rolls in. Harry Gardner acts as a rolling roadblock. He is in control of the field for the second race of the night here at Brands Hatch Indy. AFVRC is ready, it's poised, and it's
away we go.
The lights are off and we get going. Harry Gardner with a great start there, but have a look up the inside, and that is Dan Berris. Dan Berris takes the lead.
Brilliant.
Shoulder checks Harry Gardner out to the side there. That was textbook and that was impressive.
And Ollie Wayne has claimed second place as well. So Messrs. Etok and Gardner have lost out there in that first couple of laps. But yes, what a brilliant start from Darren Berris. Just saw him coming in on the inside there. He obviously picked his moment. He was absolutely ready. He took his chance and away he went.
It certainly did. Fantastic stuff as we see Adam Barron, your race winner from race 1, having a bit of a struggle trying to get through, as we see Craig Durant all the way up to 6th position already, but it's still Matty Banyard. He will be loving this right now, ahead by a second over Dave Russell and Michael Clough. Harry Gardner dropping down the order, though. It was looking so good for him up in pole position. He's now down in 5th position. Ryan Martin's gone off, and that is going to be... look at that. He's gone backwards onto the track there. That is coming down Paddock Hill Bend. We've got another car off. That's Stu Etic as well. So Ryan Martin and Stu Etic have had a horrible turn of events there. They drop all the way back behind the GT4. Your leader, though, still Dan Berris in the GT3s. Ollie Wayne in 2nd. Tom Stevens in 3rd position. Matty Isherwood. Oh, and Dan Berris has gone off as well. Dan Berris loses the lead, and that looks like it's going to be into the wall at the final corner. Well, yeah, it's safe to say it's a dull, boring, quiet race here, John.
Yes. Yeah, just as we were thinking it was going to just sort of settle down a bit, it absolutely has not. But Ollie Wayne is the man who's taken up the mantle for leading the race. And, who knows what's going to happen in the next 13 minutes or so. Michael Clough.
There was chaos in the background because Colin Scott and James
Craig Durrant.
Oh my goodness me, Craig Durrant. That is 2 out of 2 for horrible races, and this is going to be a week to forget for your championship leader, Craig Durrant, into the wall. That is going to be heavy damage on that car, and he's going to be very lucky if he can continue that race.
Well, I don't know what happened there. Maybe we can see a replay on that in a second, but he just seemed to lose it, didn't he? Going off onto the wall. Let's have a look at the James King as that's quite nasty as well, isn't it? James King getting involved there as well, and it's it's just another way to look, do you, with what's going on around the course. And this is Adam Barron here. What happened to Adam? Well, he was taken out, wasn't he? Or there's certainly a bit of a coming together, twice a bit of a coming together there. So Adam Barron, I think he sort of rescued the situation a little bit, but Craig Durrant is in the pit at the moment. He's in the pit exit. So is that going to be his race done? We'll see.
To be fair, though, I am very, very impressed there with that GT4. There's Ryan Martin having a bit of a moment there. But to see as Ryan Martin, that is such an unfortunate place to spin that car there. You hate to see it. But to see Adam Barron, he was getting muscled out onto the grass there, and he wasn't having any of it. He gave as good as he got, and he still got that position back. So, fair play to him. Like you said, making the best of a bad situation. Matthew Banyard has crashed. He is off the track as well now. So that is a bit of an F moment, as Dave Russell is off as well, and it looks like they're off at the same corner. That is off at Druids, I believe. Matthew Banyard retires from the race. Ryan Martin has retired from the race as well. So it's Ollie Waynes now in the lead of this race. Let's have a look here at Stu Etic. Locks up the brakes, the car just spins round, and that's a fairly common one. Ben Weston now has had a moment. He's went off the track, and that's going to be at Druids as well. Oh, wow.
Look at Adam Barron, though, in the GT4. He's in 2nd place. He's only 4 seconds behind Michael Clough. He's having a great race, isn't he? What's happened to Darren Berris? Yeah, Darren, it all went a bit wrong, didn't he? As soon as he took the lead, this is where he went into the alcove, and crashed into the barriers there, and that's obviously cost him a lot. But Darren had the lead for a lap or two. He's dropped down now to 7th place. Ollie Wayne, though, still has the lead, and he's just under a second ahead of Tom Stevens, and then Craig Tunnell in 3rd place. Matty Isherwood climbing again into 4th. Harry Gardner, of course, who had the pole position, he had a bit of a coming off, but he's up into 5th, and Chris Slater taking 6th place. So it's all to play for still, very much with Michael Clough leading in the GT4. Adam Barron, as we say, and Darren Berris. Darren not having the best of afternoons or best of evenings at the moment.
I think he'd settle for having 2 wheels that pointed the same way at this point in time here, John. That was a bit of a horrible moment there, and there's Colin Scott. That's what happened to those 2 cars there. Colin just jumped over the curb there, ended up going back. I'm not a fan of seeing that. I'm not a fan of seeing the cars just rolling back onto the track. Fair enough, there was nothing coming on, but yeah, I've seen it too many times where the car just rolls straight back into oncoming traffic there, John.
Yeah, and you don't really know where to look, do you? This is Colin Scott just pulling himself off. My goodness me, that was close.
To be fair though, that's also on the GT4 cars that are coming piling down that hill. They get the warning there's a yellow flag there. They see there's a car stuck there, and to leave it that close, that means that they're still keeping the foot in. So, you know, a little bit of that is on them as well. But that gap between Ollie Waynes and Tom Stevens coming down now, that's down to about a second. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not that lead is going to change as well. Keep an eye on Matty Isherwood. Stu Etic has gone off track. This is Dan Hardwick though, again coming down the hill up towards Druids here. Is it going to be a lock-up of the brake just too late? And yep, boop.
Oh, nudge as well.
To be fair, again, both of them get away relatively unscathed out of that. That's just rude. That is what that is there, John.
Just rude. James King, he's having some fun and games, but he is working his way through the field at the moment. He's up to 7th place now, and challenging for a position. Luke Arpino. What's Luke been up to? Oof. And that's just missing the crash barrier, missing the fence there. So he's don't know where to look. It's just literally one thing after another.
Everything, yeah. you were saying there, where's Luke Arpino been up to, and it's like, well, almost the tyre barrier. That's where he's been up to tonight. Thing is, it could have been so much better, but Adam Barron, though, as you pointed out earlier, 2nd place. Here's Dave Russell. Now, Dave Russell was in the pits. I think Dave's actually retired from the race here. This is into turn 1. That's unfortunate. That is unfortunate to see him clipped like that. Yeah. And a huge hit. See, that's what I mean. I don't understand that. You get the yellow flag, you see that there's a car stranded in the middle of the track. Common sense would say, John, lift off, put on the brakes, ease it off, just take the 0.3 of a second hit that it's going to be. Otherwise, that's your race ruined.
Well, if you're in the zone, though, sometimes it's difficult, isn't it? If you've got the adrenaline pumping, and these things happen very quickly. But yeah, I do agree with you on that one. You could have done a bit better, definitely. Ollie Wayne still has that lead, and the lead has remained about round the 2nd mark, isn't it? And Tom Stevens not seeming to be able to make any ground on Ollie Wayne at the moment. Michael Clough still leading the way in the GT4s, and Adam Barron, I think he's driver of the day. He really is driver of the day for me so far.
Yeah, that's. I'm not going to throw any shade on that one because I absolutely agree with you. Here's Matty Banyard. There's not much you can do when you've got a spinning Stu Etic coming right across your front there, driving the wrong way on the circuit. That's fine. And by which point Matt Banyard is, I can imagine, tempted to just give up and just put the car off track. Chris Pawley and James King come together. So they are going down the order as well now, and so we see Tom Stevens recovering back onto the grass here. Just about 1 second behind the race leader Ollie Waynes here. Have a look at this. That is on one of the GT4s there, and you've got Matty Isherwood up to 3rd position, and we are already more than halfway into this race. This is James King. Let's have a look. I'm scared. That's 2 teammates. No, not like this. That's going to be a very awkward conversation at RAF Motorsports in the post-briefing room. Yeah, that's a bit awkward, John.
Yeah, an expensive conversation, I think, as well. When they have to start rebuilding those cars. But yes, it's been a bit ill-disciplined, isn't it, this 2nd race? I was so impressed with how majority of the drivers got in the 1st race, but they've really just sort of let their hair down a bit in the 2nd race, and it's certainly cost them. I think points are going to be very hard to come by for the majority of the drivers today. Good points in that championship.
Yeah, for sure. But just over 4 minutes left to go in this race then. 2nd race of the evening here at the AFVRC on the RAF Motorsports channel. We will be back next week for more of this absolutely enthralling action that we bring to you every week. It's been a fantastic season so far, and we head off to Spa. We are off to Belgium next week and it is going to be the Grand Prix layout on that one. But as I said, 4 minutes left to go. It's still Ollie Wayne who will be delighted. He will be over the moon to take the top spot on here just now, but he's been hunted down. Tom Stevens wants to take that position from him, and never ever count out Matty Isherwood. He's now just a second behind the gap, and Matty Isherwood gets ahead, and Tom Stevens gets absolutely sent into orbit there. That was Chris Darnell that hit the rear end of him there. Chris Slater makes a move as well, and it all goes horribly wrong for Tom Stevens, and now that win for Matty Isherwood doesn't look so ridiculous now. Meanwhile, it's still Michael Clough in the lead of the GT4s from Adam Barron, 3.8 seconds, so that one looks like that might be done, barring any mistakes from Michael Clough there. And then in third place, Dan Hardwick. So again, it's all changed at the top for the GT3s and the GT4s, as we've got 3.5 minutes left to go. And your championship leader, it's now not looking so rosy, because it has been a horrible week for Craig Dunn. And I've got to be honest, I don't think he's going to be best pleased with how this week has gone here, John.
No, but everyone has bad weeks, don't they? I mean, he's had a brilliant time so far, and of course, he is able to drop his worst drives, isn't he, in the overall championship? So maybe it's not going to affect him so badly, but he just wants to keep the consistency going, as they all do, and that's of course what he has done so far. He's been so consistent, but not today.
Just watching the cars coming round and enjoying the sounds here as we're watching Tom Stevens trying to chase down Chris Slater for 4th position. It could have been so much different for Tom Stevens. He was chasing down for the lead. That is not going to be happening now with 2.5 minutes left to go. That dream is well and truly sailed here at Brands Hatch Indy. Meanwhile, that is Paulie getting ahead, Chris Paulie ahead of Harry Gardner, and instantly gets the favour return. Paulie goes off the track, and that is going to be at Graham Hill Bend, and that moves him all the way down. So Ollie Wayne's now having to fight off Matty Isherwood, and this is an awesome race. And to be honest, John, I think the tail end of this race has been much better than the start of it.
Yes, it has. Yeah, it's been a bit. The drivers have settled down, and I think they've realised, hey, come on, this is all this sort of toing and froing and making ridiculous moves is not really helping the competition, not helping anybody, and it certainly isn't helping the drivers themselves. So you're right. This is how the first race started. So the second race is finishing in the way that we want to see.
Let's have a look then. Around the outside goes Chris Slater, trying to take that position. He gets it done from Tom Stevens. Tom Stevens dumped back down to 5th position, and thankfully that's the only places they're going to have to worry about, because the car in front of them, that is Matty Banyard. Meanwhile, here is Harry Gardner trying to fight off James King, never round the outside. But I tell you what, he's got a chance, because he gets a good run out, does James King. He's going to duck into the slipstream here, and we're on to our final lap with just 50 seconds to go here in the race, John.
I know, very exciting, isn't it? And it's just really hotting up there. But Adam Barron's still second. Michael Clough leading the GT4s. Ollie Waynes has done really well, actually. He's kept that lead really for the majority of the race. Can he hold out for the last few moments? It looks like he can, with Matt Isherwood second and Chris Darnell in third place. Onto the final lap now. Chris Slater, who was 4th in the first race, he's trying to get himself onto the podium, but I don't think he's going to do it, because he's 3 seconds behind Chris Darnell. So it looks like this is how it's going to be. But look at this, it's neck and neck at the moment. Matt Isherwood really on the tail of Ollie Wayne. This could end badly, but it could end. Who knows how it could end?
Let's keep an eye then round the final corner then. It's all looking really good for Ollie Wayne. Just one corner left to go round Clark Corner, but have a look at Matt Isherwood. He tries to get the drive off the final corner. He's going to try and get the cut back, but it's all in the bag for Ollie Wayne to take the race win in the GT3s, but only just by 1/10 of a second from Matty Isherwood. It's then going to be Chris Darnell in 3rd position. A brilliant end to the race. Tom Stevens is going to finish in 5th, Chris Slater in 4th, James King finishes in 6th position. Harry Gardner is going to finish in 7th after starting on that pole position. Dan Berris in 8th, Chris Pauley in 9th. Ben Weston will finish in 10th position. Colin Scott will take 11th. Stu Etic in 12th. Michael Clough in 13th position. But it's Adam Barron who will take 2nd place. Michael Clough taking that GT4 win there. Dan Hardwick taking 3rd place in the GT4s. Craig Durrant getting back up to 5th place. That is a reasonable recovery drive given how hard that was a hit onto the barrier there. But Duncan Steele into 4th after that earlier issue in race 1. Then Steve Ward, Luke Arpino in 6th and 7th position as well. Dave Russell in 8th, Matthew Banyard rounded out the GT4s 3 laps down in 9th position. Moving on to the GT3s then, it's Ollie Wayne taking the win here at Brands Hatch Indy from Matty Isherwood after a stunning lights to flag finish there. And Chris Darnell in 3rd position, Chris Slater in 4th, Tom Stevens in 5th position, James King in 6th. Harry Gardner started on pole, finishes in P7. He was down to P9, so that is a decent comeback towards the end there. Dan Berris in 8th, Chris Pauley in 9th, Ben Weston finishing in 10th position with Colin Scott in 11th, Stu Etic in 12th position, and Ryan Martin at the back of the field, DNF. Race 2 out of 2 done here, John, and wow, what a night we've had.
It's been very exciting again, hasn't it? Yeah, certainly for me, Adam Barron, I think in the GT4s has had a great night, finishing 1st and 2nd. Not such a good day though for Craig Durrant in the GT4s. As for the GT3s, well, Ollie Wayne, good to see Ollie back at the top of the podium again. He's done really well there. And Matt Isherwood getting a 2nd place to add to the course that he won, didn't he, that first race. So a good night for him. And also for Chris Darnell, it's been a good evening for him. I think we've got a few people lined to have a chat with very shortly. And I think good driving all round tonight, and lots of excitement for us to get excited about, David.
And didn't we just? It really was fantastic stuff. It was awesome to see. But as you said, we've got loads and loads of drivers. So, I mean, you're spoiled for choice, John. Who would you like to speak to first tonight?
Well, let's talk to Ollie Wayne first, because we haven't spoken to Ollie so far in this championship. But he's got the win tonight, and I'm sure, Ollie, you're very, very pleased with that.
Yeah, it's about time, isn't it? After last week, I was going along thinking, not tonight, not again, when he was catching me.
I wasn't going to remind you of what happened last week, but yeah, you've nailed it tonight, and you led for a substantial part of that race.
Yeah, I still didn't give myself much time to practice, so I was really surprised when I found myself in the lead, and I saw Matt come in, and I knew he was quicker than me, because he usually is anyway. It just didn't quite. I mean, he was right on my bump over the finish line, so...
It was a tight finish, must say, and we were just hoping there weren't going to be any nasty surprises for anyone there. Yeah, but a really good race between the two of you. Once you'd got that lead, how did you decide to try and hold on to it? Was it just literally hanging on for dear life, or were you just grabbing the right line on the course?
Well, at first, I just thought I'll try and look after the tyre a little bit, and then once Tom had his little incident and I knew Matt was behind me, I was like, right, I need to get the foot down here. I knew he's quick. And then my tyres went off again at the end. I need to look at the setup a little bit to see if we can stop that happening.
Well, what one to look at for next week anyway for Spa. Let's congratulations to you, Ollie. Great win tonight. Well done. Let's bring Matt Isherwood. Let's bring Matt in again. We had a chat earlier on, Matt, but a first and a second, that's not a bad night's work for you.
No, it's alright. Obviously, preferred to first, but at least it was Ollie that won the second race. We're in the same team. We've been sharing setups and that kind of thing, so I kind of knew what our cars were going to be doing towards the end of the race, and both of our rear tyres just went off massively, so it's just a case of keeping on the road really and collecting the points.
So you weren't following team orders or anything like that?
No, I did say to him on the chat halfway through the race, I was like, don't worry, I'm not going to do anything stupid. And then I got closer and I was like, oh, I could send it up on the brakes, but I didn't quite get close enough. Maybe 1 or 2 more laps, but still a good result.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, congratulations on that. Let's bring Chris Darnell in after a very good third place, Chris. And tell me about your race, because I think half the thing about it is consistency, and he was certainly that tonight.
2 seconds. We'll make sure he's actually in the room here.
Is Chris there? I see him on my list. Oh, he is there. Chris,
all right?
Can you hear us? Well done. Good third place. Good third place for you tonight.
Yeah, it was. I got sixth in the first race, and then this one was. It was the normal reverse grid, try and stay out of any carnage in the first lap, and I think there was 3 of us went away, and then Matty came charging through. So I thought rather than fight him for the whole race, I'd just let him go and see what happened.
Well, and it's valuable points for the team as well, for the British Army GT3 team as well. So, sometimes you just have to play like that, don't you? And just aim for what you can get rather than get mixed up in the carnage. And particularly as you because you're that much faster than the GT4s, you are going to come across them as you lap them, and that actually can add to the excitement, shall we say, from a commentator's point of view, when you start coming together.
Yeah, I mean, this track, though, there's not actually that much difference, so it's hard to get past them. But I was surprised how clean it was, to be honest. I don't know what else happened, but from my point of view, it seemed pretty clean. Everyone giving people space and getting round.
Well, we have plenty of excitement, I can promise you that. When you look back at the replay, I'm sure you'll see it, Chris. But congratulations on that third place. A good night's work for you. If we can move across to the GT4s now, and we've certainly got Michael Clough on the line. Michael, good evening, and congratulations on that first place. You'll be very happy with that.
Yeah, it feels like redemption after race 1. Getting in the lead and then immediately losing it through a bit of contact, and then getting back to P3 and then losing P3 due to someone else as well. So yeah, race 2, it was satisfying to keep in the lead, maintain really consistent pace. Overall, the race I wanted out of race 1, to be honest.
Well, you got it in race 2, and it's something that maybe if you're watching as a viewer, you don't necessarily consider. But from a driver's point of view, if you get knocked or if you do the knocking, it actually it can wreck someone's day, can't it? And so to come through that, and it's such a crowded, it's a crowded grid with yourselves and the GT3s, so it's not easy out there.
You're right, it's not. But I think we're fortunate in the GT4s that oftentimes a spin of the wheel ends up in a full reverse for us. So the net result was that I was ahead of the guys that were similar on pace to me, and just had the people who were a bit lacking on pace in front to get through. So I had it easier than most, but still really happy with it.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. I don't think it's easy for anybody out there, Michael, but congratulations on that win tonight. Very well done. I'm going to jump to third place actually in the GT4 and say hi to Dan Hardwick this evening. Dan, good evening to you, and a good third place for you there in the GT4.
Yeah, it was quite a fought one actually. I was at the back of the grid at the end of lap 1, and then with a couple of people's misfortune, managed to get to up to 4th, and then chased Duncan down for P3, and he had a bit of a wide one at the last turn, and I managed to get down the inside and stay down the inside for Paddock Hill, and then stayed in front right up until the last lap when we had a little issue coming up Surtees. He made a late move and we tagged each other coming up Surtees, but managed to get away and stay in P3, which was a massive result.
Yeah, it is a massive result. Bit of a lottery out there sometimes, though, isn't it? When, as we were just saying, when the GT3s and GT4s meet up, as they inevitably will do on a short circuit like this, you're never really quite sure what's going to happen.
Yeah, it can be quite tricky when they start coming through to lap. Me and Dunk were fighting for P3, and the all the GT3s going through to lappers. But I think sometimes they forget that the GT4s are also fighting from position, and we need to keep our track position as well. And people just have to be aware. But I think generally this race was quite clean with the overtakes. There didn't seem to be that many leery moments.
Well, certainly the first race. I'm not sure about the second. When you look back at the replay, you might understand what we're talking about from the commentator's position. But I mean, a third place, brilliant performance. So well done, Dan.
Thank you very much.
And I'd like to just finally bring in who I think is the driver of the day today, this evening. And I think that you've had a fantastic evening, Adam Barron. Are you there? Actually, I am. Yeah. You are there. Yeah, Adam. Congratulations, a first and a second. I think you've had a very, very satisfying evening.
Yeah, it's been good fun. That second race was a lot more quieter. Well, I say apart from the start of it was a bit of a chaos. But once the dust settled, I was pretty much in my own race. So it was trying to keep up that consistency. But it's quite hard on this track because it's so short. When you're getting lapped by other cars and stuff like that, it's hard to keep the consistency up.
Yeah, keeping out of trouble is the name of the game. But you certainly did that this evening. What's been the most satisfying part of tonight then?
I think it's just the competitiveness of it. Obviously, in qualifying, everyone's on different paces. Like Craig is in a league of his own, but when it comes to the races, that consistency does play into the factor, and you can actually always have someone to race. So it's always good racing here.
I think it's a night to forget as far as Craig's concerned. I'm sure that he won't be remembering this with too much love and affection. But certainly for you. And what does this mean for your championship as well? Because obviously you said that you'd missed last week, missed a couple of weeks. So really important to get those points in the bag, and it must give you an awful lot of confidence going forward. Yeah,
after the first race of the season, I think I was Craig was leading and I was second. And then, like I say, the past 3 races I've missed because of operational commitments, which is a shame. But with 2 drop scores, I was kind of hoping to only miss 2 races for work commitments. So now I've missed 3. I'm already a race down, if you like, with 0 points. So I just have to hope that I can keep up this for the rest of the season, not miss any more rounds, and hopefully some of the leading contenders will have a bad weekends.
But we'll be keeping a very close eye on how you get on. But congratulations on a great night. First and a second is excellent by anybody's standards. That was Adam Barron there, who we've obviously spoken to a couple of times this evening. And congratulations to all the drivers tonight. David, they've certainly given us plenty of entertainment, haven't they?
Entertainment being the words. A big emphasis on entertainment tonight here, John. Fantastic, enjoyable and fun and frivolity for the whole family, I think. My goodness me, does this blow the championship wide open as we head towards the halfway point. We come back though, this time next week we head to Spa for the Grand Prix layout. 22nd of, it'll be the 29th of March, of course, because we're a week behind. But we will be at Spa, and what an event that will be. All eyes are going to be on Craig Durant. Can he recover after this horrendous night here at Brands Hatch? But I guess all that's left to say, John, is a huge thank you to you. What a night we've had, and lots and lots to talk about.
Absolutely, yeah. Thoroughly enjoyable, and hope that you'll be able to join us again at the same time next week. And hopefully a bit more of the same, David.
Yep, fingers crossed. And a huge thank you as always to our production team behind the scenes, the one-man band that is Mr. Mike Yao from ASR and Sim Sports Solutions. A huge thank you to RAFE Motorsports behind the scenes for all of the logistics work. Thank you as well to all of you out there at home for watching. Thank you to the drivers for taking part, and we will see you same time next week for more madness at Spa.